everybody, welcome back, Level M Diecast. We do have a showcase for you today. We're going to talk 10 castings from Matchbox that they no longer make, either in the basic range or 5-packs or anything, that I think that they should bring back. I did pull out 10 from the collection, and we're just going to kick it off with this one. This is the Matchbox moving truck. This is the first edition for this one. It was in budget deco here on the side. Looks pretty good. All the details on there. Even has a number on there. It says call Matchbox Go. How am I driving? Did have a opening feature in the back. Did have the opening door. The door opened up, just part of the interior. So they kind of got away with it. I don't think that they would do this nowadays. Might be retooled potentially to get away from the moving door feature. But definitely a casting that they could definitely bring back to the range. Just MBX moving truck. This is B10. B10 as the first edition. So we'll just throw that guy on the bottom here. Just go through. Another version here. This one was a little bit later version. I think this might have been a multi-pack exclusive, I think, if I remember correctly. But this one was Matchbox in Japanese. So it technically says Matchbox twice. But just kind of cool. They were having a little bit of fun with it back in the day. This one still had the opening door on the back. This time with gray. Has a little notch that just sits there so it stays open. Just snap that in there. Looks pretty good. Disc hub wheels on there for that one. So that one is one that I think could realistically come back. Obviously, it might be a little bit adjusted a little bit. Take care of the door. I don't remember exactly how many I have in the collection, but I will throw the number up on the screen of each one of these. The total amount of the models that I have currently in the collection, which for the most of these should be all of them. I do know for a fact I'm missing some of these ones, so I don't have all of those ones, but I'll throw that up there just so you guys have it. All right, next one up, this is the Mitsubishi L200 Triton. This was a super cool casting they did back in the day. Not a truck sold in the U.S. This is for foreign markets, foreign markets from the U.S. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people watching this that are very familiar with this truck. There is your Bay States L200 Triton. This one is B43, I think is what it was. Maybe C43. C43. This is one of the very first releases. I don't remember if this was the first edition or not. First edition might have been in a maroon red. But full prints on the front, full prints on the rear. Did have a tow hitch integrated with it. Looks pretty good. Some cargo in the back. I really do like this casting. I think they did a really, really good job with this particular casting, and that one could easily be brought back, and I think that would help out with reach of international markets. Plus, we already know that they are building a strong relationship with Mitsubishi because we just got the Evo and the first generation 3000 GT. This is that maroon one right here, which looks absolutely fantastic. So this does not have chrome wheels. They are silver wheels. The blue one had chrome wheels on it. This one has silver. There was also a variation on this one with the bigger 6 spokes. Came in a multi-pack. I think it came in a 20-pack. That was the only way to get that one, was in the bigger multi-pack. So unfortunately, not in this particular one. I don't have that particular version of that particular, or that variation of that one. All right, next one up, we do have another generic. This is the Motorhome Toy Box. This was probably one of the coolest generics they've ever done. Yes, it's a little bit small, but it's got to fit in the blister. But it does exactly everything that it's supposed to do. This is one of the very first releases of it. This one is the more traditional look. I think this one is much more appealing to everybody. It looks more like a modern day RV. And yes, it does have the moving feature in the back. After all, it is a motorhome toy box. It does have the ramp that folds down. Of course, you put your toys in the back, hence the name Toy Box. ATVs, motorcycles, go-kart, whatever you want to put in there. And then it just uses the disc hub wheels. Yes, it's a little bit weird on the scale, but like I said, it's got to fit in the blister. I think this one's absolutely fantastic. The whole back end is plastic, cab is metal, and the base is metal. I'd be okay with them going to maybe a retooled version, which had the cab as part of the back end here, if that's what it took. There is the deets right there. Looks pretty good. This was probably before they were dating things. So 2008 Mattel, so we'll throw that guy right there. And then this one either came out as the 40th anniversary or the super fast. So this was like the premium deco version of it. So you see it does have full front prints on the front. Even has plate detail on there, fog lights, everything done up on the side. Super high quality prints. Looks good. A little bit of detail down in there. Die-cast storage for sure. And then this team lives for adventure. Then on this side, there's a little print on the window that says, dirt is good. So dirt is good for the road crew. MBX Team Adventure, very, very good version right there. That one is dated B39. Give you an idea when that one was rolling out. Next one up, we're going to cover some trucks first, obviously. Desert Thunder V16, another one that I think would fit perfectly in the range right now, even though it is a generic. Built after Dakar Racing for sure. This is one of my favorite versions of it. I have a ton of versions for the Desert Thunder V16. This one in U.S. Army Deco with the urban camo on the side. Just some basic numbers on there, 132712. Details on the front looks good. Couple jerry cans in there, shovel and stuff. Those are a little bit off scale for the model. They're a little bit big, but that's okay. A little bit of print on the front for this one with the fog lights / headlights, however you want to call them. It looks super, super good, though. I do like this casting a lot. A couple spare tires on the back. It does have an integrated tow hitch. There's your base deets, B11. So 2006 when that was a brand spanking new casting. This is kind of like the Primo version. This was the Superfast 2008 Superfast version. So a little bit of prints up there for the simulated headlights. Some stuff for the winches or the shackles, the ankle shackles and stuff like that. Details on the side look pretty good. It does say Ridge Raider Support Crew. Okay, you guys know what the Ridge Raider is. It is a off-road racer. I'll throw that up on the screen real quick. There you go. There's the Ridge Racer. All the typical stuff on here. You got your Adlar 54, Asada, Holst, Wise, so Reinhardt. All the big hitters from back in the day. Also uses the Superfast wheel. We've seen that a little bit here and there. A little bit of a bluish purple stripe on there, which I think is kind of a cool little throw off from the rest of the deco on it. Just some basic taillight prints on that one, and then just the same deco on this side. No prints on the top. It didn't get too out of control, too crazy or anything like that. So that one is pretty good. And then, of course, that model got a little bit of a treatment of variation. So this was actually from a 5-pack. So we got this in the utility 6-spoke. And then they gave it to us in the ugly crown wheels, which was really ugly. But then we got it in some proper cog wheels, some proper 6-spoke cog wheels. So this was a very, very fun pack to hunt down back in the day to get all 3 variations. There was a couple other models in there that had variations as well. Wheel variations was pretty common for a little bit in Matchbox, kind of in the golden era to not so golden era. All right, one model that would work in both the basic range and in convoy, which would require retooling clearly. This is the Mercedes-Benz Actros. So this is the first edition. This is the very first one ever released, 1999 Actros 1857, I think it is. This was actually released in the German range of the Matchbox line, which was completely different than the U.S. range, which was interesting. This model was quite difficult for me to acquire back in the day, but definitely one of my favorite Matchboxes. It's just super simple. There's not really much print on it. The black color breaking here is part of the interior, so it does create a metal cab and metal base. So they'd probably have to retool this to get some of the metal out of it, but this was retooled a little bit for the resurgence of Convoy in 2005, so it did have an updated hitch area. But they would have to update to the current hitch, which is what they use nowadays in the Convoy line, which is like the big, huge 5th wheel. And then this is the last time that we saw that one. See, there's a little bit of adjustments in the back. This was not adjusted for the 2005 Convoy. This actually came out in a 5-pack like right before those launched. This was an interesting model. I didn't particularly like this, but it came in a 5-pack, and I thought the 5-pack was really, really good. I really hate those 4-dot dome wheels. It's one of the ugliest wheels they've ever come across, they've ever designed in their entire life. Like, I would take those spiral wheels from the Tyco era over these. These are just so ugly. But the casting was unchanged. Casting was the same. They did update the base with the new Matchbox logo, which I thought was kind of stupid. Should have just left it as it was, because that casting really didn't get used much at all. So, but it also came out in the basic range in like 2008, I think, as well. All right, moving into more street style vehicles here. We have another model here. This one is the Chevy Silverado SS. This is the cat eye version, or the Hawkeye version, however you want to pronounce it. Another casting that I think would be perfectly fitting in the basic range. This one hasn't been used for quite some time. 2004 one is a new casting. China base. It used to be made in China way back. This is the first edition. This is the very first one ever done. You can see it does say first edition on the plate, which is kind of interesting. They did try to... this is when Matchbox was trying to come back from the Hero City era. So they were picking out some pretty good stuff. The decals on the front looks good. I think the color looks fantastic. I'm not a big fan of the wheels that they used, but the casting's pretty good. And I think that that's something that they could easily incorporate nowadays. And then they even had a little bit better version. They did this for Superfast in green. So it still has all the same details and stuff like that. Same prints up, looks good. The forest green looks good. Even the third brake light is done up on there. And then there's a plate on the back. I do like those Superfast wheels. Wish they'd use those wheels in some stuff nowadays. I think those would be just perfectly fine. But, you know, Chevy trucks are hot, and this would help Matchbox not have to develop a new casting. I would be hard-pressed to think that casting doesn't exist anymore. It's really not horrifically old. I do think all of these castings could realistically still exist. Whether or not they do, I don't know. But I think they could exist. All right, moving into 100% street cars now. The Mercedes-Benz S500. The only reason that I have a question on this one is because you see it does have the separate piece here for the chrome grille. And they did that with the Escalade a few years ago. And of course, we just never see it because apparently that's too expensive to put that one little piece on there. This is the first edition. This was the first release of this particular model. Also debuted in the German range. Again, not in the US for the first edition in black. Does have suspension though. Back with the 5-spoke concave wheels. It's a good casting. It's pretty simple in its details. Just some basic headlight and taillight prints. Nothing really fancy with it. Like I said, lots of suspension. Looks pretty good. Many years after that though, it became a 10-pack exclusive. And they actually did 4 different colors of it. And it got the D10s on there, which I think look absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice prints for the headlights. Really nice deco on this one. Nice pearlescent white. Does have a plate on there. And probably, it says exclusive. Maybe just exclusive. Maybe. I think that's what the translation might be. There's the plate on the back as well. Just some taillight prints up, but it looks pretty good. Does have the striping in there for like turn signals and stuff. Black interior on this one, and then just a gray base. It looks pretty good. It lost the suspension though, so they got rid of the suspension. But you can see it sits a lot higher than the other one did because of that. But I really like that casting. I think that's really good. I really would like them to bring that back. Several generations removed, but some vintage... I should say vintage. Porsche stuff, Mercedes stuff seems to be going pretty hot at the Blue brand. All right, talking about some hot hatches now, we do have ourselves a Volvo C30. This was one of the coolest castings that Matchbox did during the golden years. I think this is just so different, so unique, so cool. This one actually harkens back to the Volvo 480 ES, which is right there. That particular casting from the 8 dot era, that was a pretty ugly car, but it was a hatchback, and this is basically the new rendition of that particular one. This is one of the earlier releases. This is not the first edition. It does come with the D10s. I like the brake that they have for the interior to kind of create that kind of wheel lining in there. The V30 was kind of a little bit more not like cost country, but it definitely was a little bit more of an involved model than just like a super basic hatchback. But that one looks pretty good. There is your base deed on there. B06. And then I pulled one more out just because I really like the color combination on this one. This one is in a really nice like pearlescent cream with a very nice golden interior. So you see the interior is also part of this line that goes around the body. I really, really like that look. I think this is one of the best versions of the C30 that they ever did. Prints look fantastic on this one as well. Really, really nice. Really nice to get something out of the collection that's been in there for quite some time. There is the base deeds. You see this one does not even have a base code on it, which tells you this one came out before the red one. So that one's way back in the day. All right, next one up, we have ourselves the Lotus Exige, which I think is one of the best sports cars that Matchbox has ever made. Now, this one does have a lot of good details to it. I mean, look at the base. Looks so good. B45 is the day code for this one. This one has been interesting in how they've decoed it up. It's always had front print. So the front print's always been on there, but sometimes the rear print doesn't exist. I'll show you on the next one kind of the reasons why that happened. This is printed. That little black print you see in there for the vents is printed, but it's printed with the headlights. So even though that's all in the front, kind of sort of on the top as well, it actually wasn't enough to create two tampo prints. So we did get tampo print in the back. It says Lotus. Now this one does have an added wing on it. So the model would need to be retooled to include the wing as part of the body in order to make this a resurgence. And by the way, in case you guys are wondering about that, we just got two brand new Volvo castings last year. So in case you were wondering if the Volvo licensing was at Matchbox, I'd say it's pretty strong. But this one looks pretty good. Just white on white with the D10s. Nothing real fancy with that one particularly. So kind of throw that guy in the front there. This one happened to be in the Superfast line. This was the 2008 Superfast. It was in the second set, I think. It was very difficult to acquire. This one was super cool because it had offset colored stripes. I thought that was just such a cool thing that they did with gray and white. Full prints on the front. The headlights on this one look way better. They're definitely much more premium. There's also prints back here for the engine cover area. So that was also printed on some, not on others. You can see on the white one it was not printed. And then this one has full prints on the back because it was a premium. And then there is the detail right there. Oh, get that to focus. Looks good. Looks good. Just black D10s on there. Nothing fancy with that. There is your base deets. Lotus Exige 2006. They've done a lot of versions of that one too, by the way. All right, last one up that I have, the BMW M1. Couldn't remember if it was the 1M or M1. This was the small BMW. I picked out this one particularly because I like silver. You guys know I like silver a lot. This one is decoed up full front and rear. This one is pretty good. It's a small casting, but it's very menacing in how it runs. Very wide set. Big wide fender flares on there. Looks good. BMW did request them to call it the M1, by the way. A lot of people were questioning that, but that is the direction of BMW. Such a cool little casting. I think they did such a great job with this one. It's just such a good one. There hasn't been too many releases of it, unfortunately. So let's see here. We'll put that guy. Just put that guy on the top. And then this was the last time we saw that casting, I believe. This was in the best of, I think is what it was, which was back when, best of the world. There you go. That's what the best OTW stands for. A lot of people gave them flack because this was the only Real Rider Matchbox had at the time, and it was just too off-roady. It was too beefy. It didn't look right. The wheel was fine with the orange stripe, but you see these super aggressive tires. It just did not look good. The deco was great though, black with this matte in the middle with this orange striping. They did such a good job with the deco on this one. It just, the wheels just really killed it. Unfortunately, the tires, I should say, not the wheels, the tires. So a lot of people did wheel swap these, but M45 was the day code on that one. So just kind of throw that guy right there. So there you go. There is 10 models that Matchbox hasn't made for very long, some of them for a really long time. Castings, I think they should come back. Like I said, these are all realistic. I didn't bring out anything that's unrealistic or something that's, from the 80s or something like that, or even from the Tyco era. That those toolings don't exist anymore, just flat out. Mitsubishi's got a good brand with them. BMW's clearly got a good brand image with them. Couple of generics in there, which should be no problem. Hitting the Chevy truck love, people love that. Some vintage Mercedes, a couple of race cars, try to squeeze those in there. I know Matchbox is trying to do that. They are. Volvo licensing is really, really strong. And then, of course, they still like to do off-road stuff. So I think those check all the boxes. I don't know. You guys can let me know. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you have a casting that you really want them to bring back. Just remember, try to be realistic about it. Try to approach it as something that could potentially happen. It's fun to just fantasize about certain things coming back, but unfortunately, it's just not the way it's going to work. So we're going to roll out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate you. Level him saying, peace.